Words are about to be spoken on the extreme life of Matt Hardy, brought to you by the Ad Free Show's podcast feed and Wrestling According to Alba Networks. We're live on Wrestling According to Alba.com. I'm John Alba. That's the broken one. That's the woken one. That's the spoken one himself. Going through all the motions tonight. Mr. Matt Hardy, what's going on, my man? Feels like things are starting to slow down for you. The bright light is right there in front of you. You got a couple more things to get through, and then you're going to be off for a couple weeks. That's what the rumor and innuendo is.
Yes, very much well deserved. There were so many no's we said in this process, like, oh my God, can you do this? Can you do this? And Rhode Island Comic Con wanted us up there, and it's a great con too, and I would have loved to go. We have to stay disciplined. We have to take off. We've had 6 weeks of just go, just bedlam in so many ways. So many big events have happened in those 6 weeks too. It's crazy. It's been a good 6 weeks, a very productive 6 weeks, but it has been very challenging. It's for sure been challenging, and it's going to be challenging. We were recording this on a Wednesday evening, and I will be getting up at 3:45, 4 a.m. in the morning to catch a 7 a.m. flight up to Jersey, where we will be doing Fourth Rope. And if you were there on Thursday, hopefully you saw it. We're doing a meet and greet, and we actually know about it this time. There was a time they were going to do it before. We had no idea, but it's a before the show meet and greet, and we're going to do that. And then we've got a big 6-man tag, myself, Jeff, and Zilla versus the Good Brothers and Joshua Bishop.
I think you should do a reverse rib on Kishi here because, he called John Cena Xena, right? So I think you should call Zilla Scylla. I think that's how it works with the Samoans. You're able to give him what goes around comes around. All right, you're going to Jersey. Six Flags Great Adventure. That's my old home turf. I grew up about 20 minutes away from there, and every single weekend when I was like 14 to 17, I was always at Six Flags Great Adventure.
Oh, okay.
That's they used to have the world's tallest and fastest coaster, but no longer do they because they took it down. But what are you a roller coaster guy? No, you gone on with the kids. I've seen.
Oh no, I love roller coasters. I'm addicted.
I mean, you're the guy who jumps off ladders, so I figured you would.
Yeah, no, I dig. I still do. I still dig roller coasters. I remember thinking when I first fell in love with roller coasters and riding roller coasters and going to different theme parks and stuff. I wish I could. As opposed to driving a car, I could just ride a roller coaster everywhere to school, take it to to Southern Pines and to go eat dinner and just ride a roller coaster everywhere. It'd be the greatest thing in the world. Do a couple loops and a few nice hills with good drops. But no, I do enjoy roller coasters. And ironically enough, my wife, Rebecca, she actually said that was her theme park too whenever she was growing up.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense.
It's like Great Adventure.
That makes sense. She was close enough that would probably be it. Yeah, it's it was the jam, man. So, are you a drops guy? Are you a inversions guy? Are you a launch guy? Like, if you had to pick, like, what's the element that gets your blood going?
I'm a big, drops are cool. That I enjoy them. I just like more than anything else. I probably like whenever you go in a spiral, whenever you do a loop to loop, I enjoy a good ride, especially as I've gotten older. I enjoy a smoother roller coaster more than like the old wooden ones that are like choppy.
Oh no, hell
you know what I mean? I like the smooth ones that are like Tron. Have you rode Tron
at Disney World? That's your jam.
It did. I mean that was amazing. It takes it's fast, super smooth. That I like a smooth roller coaster in my advanced stage. My body's had a bump or two over the years, so it's nice when it's a little smooth.
As your skills deteriorate, you gotta find something to smoothen things out. I feel that. I'll tell you, look, I love a good coaster, but from the first time I went on the Tower of Terror, like that was like, to me, that is the greatest theme park ride in existence. And I don't know, there's just something about it that I think is the very, very best of the best. And actually, I think I may have gone on it for the first time the day that you guys made your return at WrestleMania 33. I think that might have been the first, because we went to Disney earlier in the day. And I think that might have been the first time. So I feel like that's got to be right up Rebecca's alley, right?
Oh, no, she's terrified of that.
Oh, she's terrified. Okay.
The last time we were there.
Oh, no, but Barty went on it, right? Didn't Barty go on it?
Oh, he loved it. Barty and Maxwell and Wolfie went. Wolfie kind of freaked a couple times, but Maxwell just thought it was easy. Like, but she did not want to go. The last time she did it, she said it made her sick, and she said she didn't want to do it again. So
she's all bark, no bite on that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, the boys did it. They were all in.
Oh, I'm gonna get a heated fucking text about that one later. Oh man, okay. Well, your travels are nearing their end. You're gonna be up in Jersey, and then in just a short while, man, we're closing in November 22nd. You're gonna take that trip up I-95 into New York City, and you're gonna be doing the Hardy Party in Times Square. I'm going to be there. Brother Nero's going to be there. It's going to be an awesome time. HardyBoysLive.com, HARDYBOYZ live.com. Live Matt Hardy podcast, live Jeff Hardy concert, and a meet, greet, and delete for the ages, plus some great food and drinks. This is going to be an all-timer. It's our biggest Hardy Party of the year. It's our last big Hardy Party of 2025 because, believe it or not, 2026 is right around the corner, my friend.
It certainly is. It will be here before we know it. When I was young, I used to really get excited for time to move forward, and now I want time to slow down.
Dude, this is going to be an awesome one, though. You're going to want to be wide awake for this because we're going to be right outside, by the way, where they dropped the ball on New Year's in Times Square. So it's going to be an awesome location. It's going to be an awesome time. HardyBoysLive.com. These Hardy parties are some of the best value entertainment deals in all of pro wrestling. We cannot wait to see you there. It is the morning/afternoon of AW Full Gear. You'll have plenty of time to get over to the show if you want to do both. It's going to be an awesome time. Anything else you want to say about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our first Hardy Party in the Big Apple in Times Square. So we are super motivated and excited for it. It's going to be one of our greatest shows overall altogether.
It certainly is going to be. It's going to be awesome. So if you're one of the sickos and you want to come check out the Hardys, you can hit both shows. It's going to be a good time. I promise you that. And if you want to take up an issue with Matt talking about the sickos, you can do it by purchasing a ticket and telling him to his face.
No, they can come heckle me, please.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
I would love to hear it. I might even bring some up. We'll debate. We'll have an open debate.
Okay. Well, Matt Hardy debates the sickos. Matt Hardy addresses his enemies. HardyBoysLive.com. It's going to be awesome. We hope to see you there. Matt Hardy, that is one of my favorite AEW bits. The blank addresses his enemies. That is truly outstanding. I got to tell you, man, I had an awesome interview earlier today with someone you got to work with during your time in WWE, and that is Natty Neidhart. Someone who's been a true trailblazer for women's wrestling over the past 2 decades. She's approaching 20 years in WWE, which is amazing to think that she's been with the company for that long. And she just put out a book, The Last Heart Beating, that just came out as we taped this yesterday. I got a chance to read it last month. I read it in 2 days. It was super easy to read. It's really good. What's that?
I said you burned through it.
I burned right through it, bro. It's awesome, and I highly encourage people to check it out because there are a lot of great wrestling books out there. There aren't a ton that have been written by women who have been in that perspective, in that role for so long. It was really good stuff, and I highly encourage you to check it out. Any thoughts on Natty? I mean, she's an all-timer in my opinion.
She is. I mean, there's a lot of qualities that Natty has, and also I think the positioning of Natty that is a little reminiscent of myself and Jeff in some ways too. She's been around doing this for a while, right? But she has been able to maintain her health and her ability. Her skills haven't deteriorated that much.
No,
she's still very talented. She can still go if need be. And the fact that she's out and doing different things now, the whole character she's doing outside of WWE, I think has been so cool. A great reinvention for herself. And obviously, so many people know the story behind, myself's reinventions, Jeff reinventing himself as well. And a lot of that comes because we all have such a deep, passionate love for the business. I mean, we're not members of a pre-existing wrestling family. Maybe Jeff and I are the start of a wrestling family. Well, I guess we'll see what our kids end up wanting to do in a few years down the road. But, Natty comes from a long lineage of great wrestlers, and she has that passion. She has that drive to really make wrestling her life, and that lives in her. And anytime I've seen Natty or interacted with her, it's always just such a pleasant experience. It's someone who loves it, and we both share a great respect for one another for both being so passionate about pro wrestling.
Last Heart Standing just came out. You can pick it up wherever you get your books. And what I really found interesting was you just talked about her legacy and her family legacy. It's very important to her. She stressed this many times across the book and when we spoke, that while she honors her family legacy, it's very important for her to build her own and to help pass things on to the next generation on her merit and to stamp her achievements in the industry. And she's doing, she opened her own version of the Heart Dungeon now in Tampa, which is really cool. And she's training a lot of people. And I think that's a lot to her. It means a lot to her. I know you have great.
Midas, the ringmaster's down there quite a bit. I know sometimes he helps her out.
Yes,
he is one of her trainers
from the main event. Yeah, he's down there a lot. You have talked a lot about your respect for Brett in the past. We haven't talked a ton about Anvil. Were you a big Anvil guy growing up?
I enjoyed him. I thought he was extremely entertaining. As I was coming up in wrestling, I wasn't like hell bent on one way. I had a respect for the guys who, were hard workers and did all the cool stuff within the ring, and they had these great matches. But I also enjoyed the guys who were funny and entertaining. His laughter and just the stroking of the goatee over and over, and the way he would hit the thing. He complimented Brett so well in so many ways. And the times that I met him and interacted with him, he's very cool.
Yeah, and he's obviously a huge part of the story, and a lot about his addiction issues and some of the things that he went through. It's sad, but it's also heartwarming to hear someone be so open about a lot of that stuff. And she also talks a lot about how everyone loves doing a Stu Hart impersonation. Have you been around people who do Stu Hart impressions?
I've heard a bunch of Stu Hart impersonations over the years, and I was honored to meet Stu Hart a few times in the early days.
Oh yeah,
whenever we're up in that area, yeah. So it was cool just to be able to say that I met him. I was in the same room with him. I was in the same, in his presence.
She said Vince used to love doing a Stu Hart impression.
I could see that. I could see that.
Do you have a Stu Hart impression? Have you ever tried one?
No, I haven't. I mean, I love hearing some of his stories where he just comes off as this monster, that would just get a kid down in the dungeon and stretch him and just torture him and make his life absolutely, miserable. So I don't have a great impression. I've never been around him. I've never watched enough footage of him to do that, but obviously greatly aware of him and big respect for Stu.
Bruce Pritchard always had a pretty good one he would do back in the day. But yeah, it's a really good read, man. I highly encourage it. Go check it out if you haven't yet. Last Heart Beating. And I don't know. I mean, we always get asked on our Ask Matts, like, when's the Matt Hardy book coming? When's the Hardy Boyz book coming? Do you realistically see that as something that you'd like to do one day?
I think so. I think we would both like to release single versions of books.
Right.
I mean, I think another Hardy Boyz book would be very profitable as well. And I think that's something we could probably do if, underneath the umbrella of a big company, and they wanted to kind of, deal with that undertaking, we would be up for it. But I think Jeff and I would probably would both want to focus on our singles books and talk about our singles lives, because we've really, when we first wrote that book, like we hadn't lived any, we lived at that point just such a small fraction of what our lives turn out to be. It feels like I have lived multiple lives in different eras. I feel like a damn vampire. But yeah, we're definitely up for that. Jeff journaled all the time, and he says this, during his addiction and alcoholism, and there's so many things that he has written down and want to do. And he said that he would, think about doing it himself, but it's such a big undertaking. He would like to have someone else do it and help him out a little bit.
Yeah, I think there would be so much for you guys to offer with your individual storytelling, aside from tandem storytelling. Just finding the right writer's voice, telling good stories. I think there would be a lot of interest. You'd be surprised, especially the more open you can be about things, because she's very open. And I think being very open and transparent is critical. And wrestling autobiographies are always so fascinating. There are so many
they're
great.
always kind of hit or miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, some are really good, and some you're like, what was the point of even writing a book?
Right.
And some of the hidden gems are the really interesting ones. Like Justin Roberts' book, I think is a very interesting one. And maybe you're not thinking to yourself, oh, Justin Roberts, like, yeah, he's been around for a lot and he's a good ring announcer, but he had quite a few stories to tell in his that were very interesting. And even Bob Holly, too, had a very interesting wrestling book. And Chris Jericho's had like 10.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to go around.
2026, you'll probably write the 11th.
He probably will. I don't know, man. See where he shows up. This is going to be a lot of people still talking, just like we did last week about that, trying to figure out where Y2J spends 2026. It's crazy that he's still even going at that rate, but here he is, and he's still at the top of the game. Anything else you want to add from this past week before we get into business here?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would like to throw in there, because everyone knows when I've been on the road, whether it is TNA or NXT or a indie promotion, House of Glory, or a Comic-Con, or whatever the appearance may be. I was just up in Toronto at the Arena Rumble, where it was a great charity. They were raising money for autism awareness and things like that, and they raised $110,000, which was great.
That's awesome.
A really good event, and it was great. We were talking about AEW earlier, and I got to see Cole Cabana. He was there. I saw Evil Uno. He was there. It was a mix of people. Mike Santana, the TNA champ, was there. It was a mix of people. Josh Alexander was there. It was good to see him. We were just talking about our kids growing up. Our kids like one another, which is cool. But it was a good event. It was a lot of fun. But everyone knows it's crazy and hectic when I'm on the road, traveling nonstop, flying coast to coast, doing this, doing whatever. But sometimes when I come home, it is just as hectic, because my wife, Rebecca, is very, very busy when it comes to doing like her social media stuff now. She just landed one of the biggest brand deals that she has ever landed. And it was very cool because I guess the selling point was it had some wrestling related in it, which I think she kind of sold me in it as well, which is funny. But we end up doing a deal with the kids, and we go to this restaurant today, and we're shooting, and it was like a last second thing, and it had to be done because it has to be in tomorrow. So we were just knocking it out, working on it real hard. And it's great, man. She's doing very good stuff with her content. I feel like it's growing, and she has more people with eyeballs on her, and it is fun to be a part of it, especially with the kids, because it's me getting to do stuff with the family. So that was a lot of fun. It was very enjoyable. It made for a hectic day. I was hoping I could just sit on my fat ass at home and just hang out with the kids and stuff, but that wasn't the case. We were out and about, and obviously the kids have different things they do and classes they go to and stuff. So it was a hectic day, but a good day. It was fun because I spent it with my family.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. There was one more thing I did want to ask you about. I forgot. Have you been seeing all over wrestling discourse the past few days about Sting versus The Undertaker?
The only thing I saw a headline, and it said Sean Ross Sapp had put up a poll about who is the greatest career, who is the best, whatever of their two storied careers, and it was more or less a deadlock. It was split like right down the middle. So I have seen a little of it. I have been so hectic and insane. I haven't seen a ton of stuff.
It's been garnering so much chatter online, and I think I know where you're gonna stand on the line on this, so I'm not gonna lead you on it. But when I say The Undertaker or Sting, what would you say? As someone who knows both of them super well.
Yeah, and I do know both of them super well. I mean, I feel like when you look at totality of a career, it's hard to have a greater career than Undertaker, because it wasn't like he moved around different companies. I mean, he was like on top in a prominent position for his entire career at WWE and did so many things, and the streak and everything else. Sting, obviously, main player NWA, main player WCW, kind of brought new life to the brand during the Monday Night War, especially with his reinvention and Crow persona, and he went to TNA, and he still did great things there at TNA, which is like a bit of a lower level company, but he helped TNA kind of come to prevalence to a degree, and he stuck with them the whole while. He had that small brief run at WWE, and then he went to AEW, and AEW, Sting is the greatest story AEW has ever created, in my opinion. I know I've said that before, but I still do believe that. In totality, man, like I love Sting as a human being. Really good, really good dude. I love Taker as a human being as well. But it's hard when you compare the two side by side, just because Taker has spent all that time in WWE, the top wrestling company, as a top tier act. It's hard not to say Taker did.
Okay, he took a definitive. It's interesting because people love comparing them, but I don't really think they're anything alike. Like, they had spooky aura characters, I guess.
Right.
But in terms of their work, it's super different. And a lot of people argue, and I've been reading this discourse, and a lot of people have been arguing, well, as a wrestler, in-ring wrestler, Sting had a much more consistent in-ring career than Taker had. But Taker had bigger matches that they delivered on that became all-time great matches. Like, does Sting's best match of all time match up to Taker's best match of all time, even if Sting had the more consistent run? It's an interesting but also mind-numbing conversation when you think about it.
You also have to think about moments. I mean, they both had a lot of great
moments. Have had great moments.
Taker has had so many great moments over the course of his career in WWE, you know, because he's always been a guy that has been, you know, ahead of the pack. He's been in the vanguard when they start tossing out ideas about what are we going to do with our top guys. You know, Taker was always in the conversation.
But Taker also never had a storyline as hot as Sting versus the NWO.
I mean, that is true. That is true as well. You know, and once again, that was just it's amazing. I thought Sting was the coolest, you know, when he was the California, you know, surfer Sting, and so did Jeff. It was a big inspiration for Jeff to start painting his face. Jeff says Warrior too, and he did like Warrior, but Sting is the guy that was really influential in Jeff painting his face. And it's so cool that they got to work with one another and become friends. But Sting's transformation, man, was just so massive. And he, you know, when he came out as the Crow, you know, he didn't even have to speak, just his actions and his body language, and it was so damn over. It was crazy, you know. And then I think it's when it comes to ultimate reinvention. I mean, you had, you know, different versions of the Taker. You had American Badass, whatever. It's hard to top Sting when it comes to that. So that's, I would almost strike for the best reinvention. I would almost say it is the Crow Sting. So it is an interesting conversation though too, because they're both so interesting, because I like them both a lot, but they're both so different. They're both so different.
And that's why it's so funny to me that they always get grouped together, because they really are very different, in my opinion. Are you surprised a match never happened between the two of them?
Maybe. It seems like it'd been something that would have been really worthwhile, especially if, you know, those guys both had a lot of value. And I get Sting. I think he was always worried about going to WWE because he didn't know how they would treat him, just because of like the reputation that WWE had for, you know, not looking at WCW wrestlers on the same level as their wrestlers or their top stars, whatever. And they kind of had to put their own spin on them. And that was the thing with Vince. Vince, I promise you, if Vince created you, you have a much better chance of being successful. I mean, the original Hardy Boys were going to get a better run than a broken Matt Hardy would have got, because, you know, broken Matt Hardy was not Vince's creation, where he sees the Hardy Boys as, you know, his children, as an act that was born there in WWE. So I get why Sting was very, you know, pessimistic about that. And it was cool that he tried it. He showed up. He did this. It was really unfortunate he got hurt very early on. I would have, honestly, even later in their career when Sting was there, I would have loved to have seen, like, have a JB, a Jeremy Borash, or have Jimmy there, have Jimmy do a cinematic match between the two. I would have loved to have seen that just for entertainment purposes.
Well, and they so easily could have, and that's why I'm surprised they didn't. But I guess it wasn't really in the lexicon at that point. And when he came in 2014, 2015, I don't think they knew if Taker was going to wrestle at that WrestleMania. So that ended up being the only one that Sting did. And Talk about him being concerned about legacy. I can't imagine why he would have been worried about that. I'll never forget. I don't know if you were watching at the time, but Sting comes out and cuts that promo at a WrestleMania. He's like, this isn't about WCW versus WWE. That would be ridiculous at this point. And then the entire match was about WCW versus WWE. It was so fucking frustrating as a fan watching it. But thankfully, as you said, he got a great redemption arc in AEW. So
he did. He really did.
Is what matters most. Okay, my friend.
And once again, I will say this for as long I think as long as I'm around. I mean, hats off, kudos to Tony Khan for doing what you did with Sting. It was done beautifully.
It certainly was. Did you dig his AEW theme? Sting's AEW theme?
Yeah, I was good with it. I was good with it. I really loved his usage and the way he seemed. They put him in the position of a novelty act, and they let him go out there, and Darby got the rub from Sting, and Sting was just used. He was used in such a smart way.
Bro, when Tony licensed out Metallica for him, I'm just like, hell yeah. I'm blasting that in my ears. Because why wouldn't you, especially when you're using Raycon earbuds? I want to talk to you about Raycon. This message is sponsored by Raycon. You see, Raycon's everyday earbuds have become a go-to gift for the holidays. They sound great. They last all day and then some, with 32 hours of battery life, and they actually stay comfortable no matter how long you wear them and how many wrestling themes you're blasting. Over 4 million people already have a pair. You and I are both getting pairs. We're both very excited for that. So if you've been curious, now's the time to try them out. For Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you can get up to 30% off of all Raycon products. Perfect for gifting or just for keeping for yourself. Dude, you're crushing your cardio. I'd have to imagine you've got music that needs to be fueling you to get through that.
Of course, man. The best way to get through cardio is distraction. Just so you have something else to focus on besides the physical stress you're putting your body through, the physical strain you're putting your body through. And this set of purple Raycon earbuds that I'm looking at right now, those are the ones I want. They're Hardy Boy colors, and I'm feeling good. And I've heard so many great things about these things. I can't wait to test them out, and I can't wait to use them every single day.
Absolutely. The Everyday Earbuds Classic are loaded with upgrades. Active noise cancellation, which works so well here in New York City. I can't stress that enough. Multi-point connectivity, so you can pair with 2 devices at once. And it's got this fit that stays put no matter what you're actually doing. So you can be working out, you can be walking, you can be stationary, and they're going to fit perfectly. The new colors are the vibe. You mentioned that Hardy colors got going on there, that blush violet sort of vibe, the cool mint they got there. It feels less like just earbuds and more like an accessory that's actually going to match what you're doing. And it's got a quick charge, which is huge for me living in New York City. 10 minutes gives you 90 minutes of actual play time and up to 32 hours of battery life with the case. And there's also awareness mode. It's just perfect when I'm out walking in the city, so I can stay tuned to what's happening around me, like cars coming at me on the streets of New York, without actually missing a beat. Plus, over 3 million customers, going on 4 million, already love Raycons, and they come with a 30-day happiness guaranteed. So if you don't love them, returns are so easy, and you have nothing to lose. Raycon is going big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Everything is up to 30% off, Matt. How about that? 30% off.
That's a huge deal. Just punch in that code Hardy.
All you got to do.
Money starts coming off immediately.
Just click the link. Go to buyraycon.com/Hardy to save on Raycon audio products site-wide. Tell them the extreme life of Matt Hardy sent you.
Bingo.
All right, my man. We got to talk about this WWE business.
Mm-hmm.
Business, as your boy Dusty would say. But before we can, I got to ask, please hit us with that Matt Fact.
Matt Fact. Matt's often overheard doing cameos in hotels.
Cameos are big business for Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
I heard you were up against the clock recently too.
Oh yeah. That was an insane one. I had a big big one. It was a brand deal for me. And I had been gone on the road and it'd been nonstop. I was like, oh well, I'll get it when I go home. And then obviously the flight ends up being delayed about 4 hours. And then I get home in the middle of the night and I'm trying to do it and set everything up. And then there's this big outage. It came in. I think that's when a lot of the internet and so much electronical things and sites went down, and I couldn't upload it. And I stayed up all night trying to get this thing done. And finally did. It was chaotic.
And now you can go ahead, plug your Cameo, because I know that's a big thing for you.
Yeah, sure. You can check me out at Cameo. I am at Matt Hardy Brand. If you just go to cameo.com, Matt Hardy Brand, that's where you can find me. And I feel like when it comes to pro wrestling, I'm the best cameo in the game. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to pro wrestle, because I go in, I try and make every single cameo I do an individual experience for each person that I'm dealing with. I try and put my own spin on it, and I give them extra time. I just don't come on there to say what they ask me to say and then sign off. I'm on there. I try and make it intimate and personal, and that's very important to me. I would like that if I was getting one from someone. So I definitely give that vibe out.
5 Cinco 5 stars.
5 Cinco 5 stars. No doubt about it. I have a 5-star rating on Cameo.
Look at that. How about that? Yeah. We love it. Okay. The hell, man. You guys lost the NXT championships. What's up with that?
It happens, man. That's one thing I can say. In WWE, there's never been a very, very long Hardy Boyz tag team title run, and that's probably because we don't need the titles. But that is case in point.
They do say anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation, but it's a guarantee that the Hardy Boyz will have a short tag title run. Because you're Teflon, right? That's
Teflon. That's one thing. They say, oh well, you know, the titles, it really doesn't make a difference to you. Well, the biggest difference is this: like if we're doing something with WWE, and we go out, especially if they have our music, which is our initially our WWE music, we go out there to jam into that music. We're out there doing our stuff. We're a legacy act. People are going to be behind us. They support us. You know, we're in a certain category where not a lot of wrestlers get to when it's all said and done, like, you know, evergreen over. So that's very cool. So the titles aren't, us having the titles for a year isn't really going to change how much we're getting over. They can help some other team out a little more. But I think at TNA, if you look at us holding the TNA World Tag Team titles, then people are saying, oh my God, I love TNA because the Hardys are their champions right now. And these guys are like they're the GOATs. They're the greatest tag team of all time. They're the champs. So it's more beneficial with TNA.
Oh, we got a run in.
Yes. What do you need, Bartholomew?
I have that. When have you seen my iPad?
I have not seen your iPad.
No, where have you seen it at first?
I have not seen it at all. I would go ask your mother. Let's see if Barty has it. I cannot be your iPad.
Mama doesn't know.
I cannot be your iPad keeper, Bartholomew.
Mama doesn't know.
Okay, I don't know either. You want to say
hi? I don't
know
either, Barty. I hate to break it to you. I'd love to be able to help you, but I can't.
All right. Well, good luck. All right.
You ever see
all around the whole entire house?
All right. Well, keep looking. You'll find it. Don't ever give up. Just like John Cena said, don't give up.
You ever see Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
When Jim Carrey is leaving the 7-Eleven, he goes, "Big gulps, huh?" And then there's just silence. He goes, "Well, see you later," and walks away. There was a little bit of that going on right there with Barty Hardy. So
he's a little frustrated. So sometimes we do have to take these iPads away from these kids.
Yeah, I get it, man. Too much screen time. I get it.
My God. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of screen time. But so the NXT tag titles, you have the Broken Rules match at Halloween Havoc. Well, first off, how was the Halloween Havoc experience?
It was good. It was a good experience. I thought Halloween Havoc was a very solid show. I thought they did a good job from top to bottom with the matches. I feel like the things they wanted to get accomplished in all the matches, they made those things happen. So I ended up being happy with it. I know ours, because those matches are so chaotic, you know, they're just so full of chaos. Sometimes when you have those matches, and if you're down selling, or there's a lot of other action going on that you're not aware of, you almost aren't sure how it is. I actually got to watch the match back yesterday when I was doing cardio when I got home last night, and I watched the match back, and I was happy with it. It looked better than it felt initially.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, the way it felt in the ring, I was unsure of the quality of the match. And then whenever I watched the match back and saw how it was shot and different things Jeff was doing and the other guys, it means that the way I felt about the match, it felt pretty good, but like I couldn't see everything. I couldn't cover everything. I wasn't certain of how good the match was. But whenever I saw it back, I thought that it looked better than it felt.
Okay.
I say that pretty often with matches too, because sometimes there's just things you're doing, especially in tag matches, where you're not aware of everything that's going on, and there's stuff that's happening, and you're not up, you're down selling, you're down hurt, whatever, and you're just not sure of how everything looks until you see the match in totality, and that's typically how I judge a match, like in totality.
We can break down more in a second. Jen watching via WrestlingCoinAlba.com saying, "How's Jeff after the scary bump he took?"
Well, if you're talking which scary bump are you talking
There were a
about?
couple. There were a couple for sure, but especially the last one.
With the last one being the Swanton off the ladder or the Doomsday?
The Doomsday.
The Swanton, I think he was okay on. The Doomsday, I think he kind of jerked his neck a little bit, and it was a little tight at the end of it.
Is all good?
I think he's gonna be all good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean the way the finish was shot was really cool. They had the jib camera flying over it, and what's it like? Getting the X's and O's here. What's it like putting together a match with guys who really don't have a ton of experience when all is said and done? Their lone wrestling experiences coming through WWE developmental. They haven't been on TV for a very long time. How are you working through a match like that? Who's involved with that process, and what was it like putting it together with them?
Interesting. Where's Coach Rosie? Is Coach Rosie in here? Is he in the chat?
He's not in here. I know he did help with Jeff's tables.
Yeah, well, he was there. It was funny. He was just talking about how much he admired me as a coach while ever.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those points where I just said, like, okay, fuck it. This is our wheelhouse. I'm just going to take charge. You know what I mean? And just worked with these guys and tried to make something magical happen in the context of the story we were attempting to tell.
Yeah. How were they in terms of receptiveness to what you guys are putting out there, leading the way? Did they come to the table with ideas? I'm asking us because they were outsiders, right? So I'm curious how much they're soaking up the business in their short time so far.
I think they're all. I think they're all, if given a fair chance, are going to do well. They have good attitudes. They absorb stuff. They're attentive. They're open-minded. I think they'll do well as far as that goes. And I like kind of what they're doing, this whole renegade deal where they're all different and they all look so different, and it's a real unique thing they have here, and it'll be interesting to see if it can turn into something special. And at the end of the day, that was our role. We wanted to go out there and say, like, hey, we signed up for this match. We're Broken Matt and we're Brother Nero, but obviously we're crazy too. I don't think anyone's going to say Broken Matt is not a crazy man at the end of the day when it's all said and done. And with Jeff Hardy, that goes without saying. He is just insane. We went out there and it was broken rules where anything goes, and it was 4 against 2, and we probably knew that. I guess maybe we should have had the Dudley. We should have bought the Dudley some tickets out there just to sit in the crowd to watch our back, maybe after our big match, or maybe we should have asked Javon and Leon to come out and have our backs, whatever. But we just went at it, me and Jeff, and that was the kind of the story. Us trying to overcome the entire state of dark. And then when it was all said and done, we fell to the numbers game.
Walk me through the whole entrance process. You guys did the Woken Matt entrance, including the Woken Matt Tron. So how'd that all come to be?
Well, they could have played Hardy Boyz music, obviously, but we weren't doing Hardy Boyz. And then the only thing that I think we had that really they could green light to play was that theme. And I was okay with that. I was hoping they could have changed it to Broken. I guess there was an issue with doing that with the wall. So it was what it was. In all honesty, it was cool to come out to that because there were times where Bray and I came out to that, and Jeff painted his face as a tribute to the Fiend, and then
Yeah.
we got in the ring and we did the signature pose that Bray and I did before every match as the leaders of worlds. And so many people picked up on that, on paying homage to Wyndham. So that was real cool, and it felt special to come out of that song after so many years. After God, last time I used that was 2018-ish. So after seven year, almost 8 years. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool to come out to that one time. It would have been nice if we could have had, Rebby there playing a grand piano and Fade Away. I saw myself as obsolete. WWE also, they're very strict when it comes to rules of music and what can be played and what can't play.
Sure.
What can be played and what can't be played. So I was happy that we had that in our back pocket to play as entrance music.
A couple of things on the Bray front. Number one, I saw Rebby went to Halloween Horror Nights and she got to do the Wyatt Six house. What'd you think of that?
She processes stuff quite different from the way I do. Like I told her, like, I'm really excited to hear about it because I almost look at it as like an honor to his life and memory. And
Sure.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would have it made me happy, but I think just for her, she just thinks about knowing him as a regular human being, and it made her sad in many ways, which I get too.
Sure.
So it was real tough for her. And I think just thinking about, Wyndham and thinking about JoJo and their kids, it was just hard for her. She said that she got very emotional several times during it.
Sure. That's more than fair. But the other aspect of all this I did want to ask you about, we heard this week, initially it was said that he was in hospice, but it's no longer said to be the case. And instead that he just had he's in the trauma unit. But Mike Rotunda, Bray's father, IRS, one half of the former U.S. Express, had a massive heart attack recently, and he was in a coma for a week, but he's said to be on the slow road to recovery. I know you know Mike pretty well from throughout the years.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's sad to hear that. It's always very sad to hear when anyone you have a lot of respect and love for. I wrestled Mike Rotunda in 1994. It was one of the early matches I had as enhancement talent. And, he was cool. He was real nice to me, which was always great when those guys were nice to you and treated you like a human being as opposed to just a piece of meat they're going out there to chew up. But it was great, even getting to know him a little more when he worked there. And it was very funny, some of the stories I heard about him working as a producer and, the way he would interact with his children. He had to be very careful about that, not to seem like he was playing favorites or anything else. But yeah, he was good. And also the same guy that we do Comic-Cons with, Tony Hunter, Mike would come out and do things with him quite a bit too. So we would see him in the $1 Million Man every so often. And it's just sad, man. It happens. People get old and there's sometimes these terrible health issues happen, and it's very sad. And just at the end of the day, I'm just pulling for him and hope he can recover and lead a normal life.
Yeah, that family's just been through so much in recent years. So I'm keeping our fingers crossed for Mike to be able to pull through this and be all good at the end of the day. So best wishes to their family. Continuing on the WWE front, man, regardless of whether you guys won or lost the titles or being a long or a short reign, you had a chance to work with some young guys and add this to their resume. How would you assess your NXT experience, all things considered?
I enjoyed it. I greatly enjoyed working with Shawn Michaels, both the first time and the second time around. Shawn was one of our guys, man. He was heavily influential in both Hardy Boyz' career, especially, if he doesn't have that first ever ladder match at WrestleMania 10, then I don't know if our careers go the same, because we don't start doing ladder matches. We weren't inspired and motivated to do ladder matches on the independent scene and whatnot. And I don't know if we end up pushing, VKM, the old man, to have myself and Jeff wrestle Edge and Christian in a tag team ladder match at No Mercy 1999. Sure. So very cool working with Shawn. Very cool getting his insight. It was it was great working around with a lot of younger guys, up and coming talent. You know, some guys that I'd seen, and I'm very curious, just how are they as real human beings when they take off the mask, that they wear when the red light's on. But it was enjoyable for sure. And I think for now it's a little break from NXT, but I feel like our relationship with WWE is pretty strong, and I'm really excited for what could be next.
Were you sweating a little bit watching that match back, hoping to find out if it was good or not?
I do sweat every so often if I don't have exactly what I need.
You know how to do it. You're getting good at this, Matt. It's Mando, because Matt Hardy is always making sure that even when he does sweat, man, that odor is well in control. Full control. In fact, even as we get into football season here, I mean, I know tons of people are out there watching games. They're sweating. These college football coaches these days, man, they're getting fired every which way. They should be sweating for their job security, because if you can't beat teams in power conferences, you're toast. But you won't be toast with Mando, because with one swipe, you're good to go. This isn't your typical deodorant. It's clinical strength, 2 times better at controlling sweat than the standard. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. And after just 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. I'm telling you, this stuff works, Matt. When you're traveling, there's nothing worse than being stuck next to someone who stinks and hasn't used Mando. Am I right?
No, I mean, and that motivates me even more to Mando all up. I'll Mando up, so I'm smelling good, like $1,000,000. And yeah, you're not wrong, John. Before I logged on to Peacock and checked out that match and watched it back, the Broken Rules match with the State of Dark, I put on a little Mando just to make sure I didn't sweat too much.
All right.
But I got nervous for Jeff again. I acted like I didn't know the outcome.
Well, I'm glad that everything worked out okay, because Mando had double protection. It tackles both odor and sweat. Their new deodorant plus sweat control solid state gives you double the protection you need. And there's no worry about sweat stains or the pit rings. It's just all day freshness and all day dryness. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash or the deodorant wipes, and free shipping. So as a special offer for our listeners here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code Matt Hardy, MATTHARDY, at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Now, you said that this is the end of your relationship with NXT for now. You have a good relationship. We briefly hit on those reports, the rumor and innuendo going around the past couple weeks that the Hardy Boyz contracts could be coming up. A lot of people are asking, are the Hardys going back to WWE? What's in store for the future of the Hardys in WWE? So when I ask that question, what say you?
I think in a perfect world, to optimize stuff, I would like to see myself and Jeff spend a little more time with TNA. And I would like to see this partnership grow a little bit, because I think WWE looks at us as legacy acts. We were WWE born and bred. And maybe we do stick our heads back in NXT, do another little run there. Maybe we stick our heads into a Raw, do a small run there. Maybe we stick our heads into SmackDown, do a small run there. I definitely think there is a lot of interesting, exciting stuff that can be done, especially if we are used as novelty acts. I think that's where Jeff and I are at the best, if doing something for WWE, if we come in like a novelty act. And, it's not like we're going to be there and we're booking all the way from, WrestleMania 44 to 45, brother. We're going to do a solid year on TV, whatever. I think when we come in and we have a short, explosive little run, I think that's where we're used in our most optimal way. So we'll see, it's pro wrestling, and never say never. Anything could happen in pro wrestling. In 2026, anything can happen, and we'll see, man.
Do you think that's realistically on the table?
What I'm saying?
Like you coming in and having a short run on Raw as a TNA talent, or a short run on SmackDown as a TNA talent, or maybe it's not as a TNA talent, that you could sign a deal with WWE that would allow you to work in spurts and do outside. Like, do you think that's plausible to be able to pull off?
I think the reactions that Jeff and I got and the feedback to Jeff and I once again appearing on the WWE product was so strong and was valuable because they know we're willing to work with people, we're willing to play ball, we're willing to do what's right for business and make new stars. I mean, we love doing that in TNA. In TNA, it's a place we can go, and it's probably a little easier to keep a prevalent position, but also too, we are trying to go out of our way to make people as well and to elevate everybody around the whole brand. And I feel like Jeff and I have been very successful at doing that at TNA. So it makes us very happy, very, very proud of how much TNA has grown over the last year and a half.
Go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, when you're asking me, do I think it's feasible or possible as far as doing this with WWE? Yes, I don't think I would rule it out, especially considering how strong the partnership is currently.
Who from the main roster would you guys like to work with?
Probably anyone that we have not worked with, and there's a few. I mean, we'd said that before, like we would love to do a Broken Matt Brother Nero with the White Six, just in some way, in some kind of capacity. That would be very fun to do. Jeff's answer, he goes to is the Street Profits always.
I was just going to bring up the Street. I was like, Jeff definitely is down with the Street Profits. I have no doubt about that in my mind.
DIY is someone that we'd never wrestled against.
You could get your Motor City's Machine Guns match.
I was just going to say that next. The Motor City Machine Guns are someone that we've never worked with. It would be nice to have what would feel like some sort of semblance of a dream match with those guys, because it's a match by two tag teams that have been around for both very long times, done a lot of cool stuff, and we could finally have a match with one another, which would be cool. And I love the fact that New Day now are different. They kick Biggie out. They're kind of heels and bad guys. So that's interesting and intriguing. And there'll be more, as time continues to tick on, there'll be, more new tag teams they continue to make.
There's that new team, Los Americanos, with El Grande Americano. Maybe the Hardys could mask up for a match. Maybe Willow shows up against the Los Americanos.
Yeah, Willow and Ignis Fatusis.
And could you? What would be your lucha name?
If Jeff was Willow, I would be Ignis Fatusis. That's where
That's okay. Yeah. So roll with it. Roll with it. I think it would work perfectly.
We did that one time where we were talking to Chief J Strongbow.
Yeah.
And we just told him we'd had a couple dark matches, and he thought we had some, talent, and we had these big ideas. We said, well, what if we wore a mask? That way, since we've been doing some jobs and we've been enhancing guys, if we gave you the gimmicks with a mask and you just let's work a dark match, take a look at us, maybe we get a job, get hired as that. And the characters were Will the Wisp and Ignis Fatusis, which mean the same thing. In different cultures. And I'll never forget, we went to the ring and they called Willow Wildo, and they called Ignis Fatusis God, what was it? I
think it might be on your cage match page. I'm gonna look.
It probably is. Yeah. Ingus. It was something.
Yes, it was Ingus Jinx. There's Ingus Jinx, and then there was Ignis Fatus.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that it was like they tried to they kind of screwed them both up.
Yes.
Whatever they were doing.
Yes, I was gonna say I recognize this from your cage match.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned the old school agents. I don't know if you saw Game 3 of the World Series went 18 innings the other day, and
I did hear about that. I know you were tweeting about it too, right?
We're locked in at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and your boy Hurricane was locked in too.
Oh, okay.
And he said a lot of false finishes in this one, and I said, tell him to go home, send it home, take it home. And he said, Jack Lanza is throwing a fit right now backstage. That was pretty good.
Oh, Jack Lanza would have been out at the mound. He would come down to the ring, man. He'd get out in front of the action. If you went over if he went over too long, he would come out there and say, he'd come out there, go home. Damn.
I thought it was pretty good. It was a very niche joke, but I thought it was a good niche joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, look, wrestling is so ambiguous in 2025. So many things can happen, and the partnership's clearly going well enough that there's definitely an open-mindedness going on. Have you guys talked to Paul Levesque at all, Triple H at all, about potentially doing some stuff beyond even whether it's, you know, in the ring? Like, I'm sure they want to get you back into the fold in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, not in detail about any of that. But you know, besides pleasantries, but the one thing I can say, I think this was real cool. You're talking about the partnership. I think the whole motivation that there were thoughts when we came around that first time about possibly winning the NXT tag team titles, and it didn't happen. But I feel like they thought this was the best time to do it, because if we became NXT tag team champions right before going to Bound for Glory, it would also build interest and intrigue for that show as well. And I think they were trying to help out TNA and Bound for Glory as far as drawing a big house. And we had a huge, massive walk up that night. So I think it did help.
Yeah, and it worked. It was good, and you guys played your role well with it, and it worked.
I mean, yeah, also talking about the partnership, I mean, you look back at SummerSlam when myself and Jeff and the Dudleys were sitting ringside. I mean, you had Michael Cole go on SummerSlam and say, at TNA's Bound for Glory, it's going to be the Hardys versus the Dudleys. I mean, that was huge. That was huge for TNA, man.
Yeah, that was mass promotion.
Yeah.
Mass promotion for you guys. Have you guys discussed Hall of Fame stuff? Everyone wants to know that.
You know what? It's a lock. I mean, everybody knows like the Hall of Fame is happening at some point, but I don't think we're there yet. You know, nobody is ready. Nobody's like saying, okay, well, we're ready to wind it down and retire and let's do the Hall of Fame.
Well, you don't have to retire now, man.
No, I know. I mean, Rey Mysterio, great. You know, he's a great example of that. But I mean, I feel like the conversation, you know, hasn't really gone there yet because there hasn't even been any like peeps of retirement or anything right now.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely.
But I feel like, you know, like for both TNA and WWE, I mean, it's just a matter of time, you know?
Yeah, your legacies have been great with both. So I 100% agree with you on that. Seems like there's a real possibility that there's more to your WWE story to write. And that's going to be exciting for a lot of fans, regardless of how it plays out.
It's, I mean, it's something that you know, at the end of the day, it is important to us that I think we would, you know, I think we would love to wrestle our final match in WWE when it's all said and done, and then retire. And then, you know, if Hall of Fame followed that or whatever, you know, I guess it could in theory come before. But TNA is also something we hold very near and dear to our heart. Like TNA has been a place that has let us experiment, let us try things differently. And there's been, you know, a few times that we've went to TNA and we've had these amazing resurgences of our career, which have led to such big things. I mean, if you look at the, you know, the whole broken Matt Hardy, Brother Nero, Broken Universe, I mean, that was a huge resurgence, which got us, you know, as hot as we could possibly be, one of the hottest acts in the business at that time. And even now kind of doing like what almost I like to call the, you know, the retro Hardys, as Jeff and I've been doing, you know, with putting some new touches and new spins on things has been really good as well. And, you know, just doing this WWE stuff, it's just, we are as hot as we have been in forever. We are really, really hot right now, and we both feel very blessed and grateful, and it is because of both TNA and WWE.
We will see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I'm sure fans probably come up to you all the time at meet and greets. Oh, when are you coming back to WWE? I have to imagine you get that all the time.
I mean, it's in the streets. It's daily. It's in the streets. One thing that's crazy now is like how, I mean, we've been on TV now, you know, since 1998, and pretty consistently too. You know what I mean? There hasn't been a lot of times where we've been off for a long amount of time. And I mean, there's people that come out with, oh my God, you guys are the Hardys. You're the wrestlers, right? The Hardy Boys. I mean, it's just, it's everywhere. You know, it's just, we look somewhat similar to how we looked when we were younger. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how we're so commonly recognized. It's wild.
Saw the Springsteen movie a couple times this week, and he gets recognized on the street. And if someone just drives by at one point, Bruce, you suck. And he goes, another satisfied customer. So it's whether the tweeps out there on Twitter land, the Zeters have anything to say to you, you're just keeping the customers happy, Matt, at the end of the day.
If they're saying your name and talking about you, you're doing something right.
There you go. Certainly are. You'd be doing something right if you came out to the Hardy Party live in New York City, Times Square, hardyboyslive.com. Get your tickets right now. Meet, greet, and delete. Going to be a party and a half, people are saying these days. It's going to be an awesome time. We hope to see you there. And advertisewithhardy.com is how you promote your business. See Extreme Get Out in front of thousands of listeners and viewers every single week. That's advertisewithhardy.com. Matt, anything else you'd like to throw out there?
Yeah, one last thing I would like to say. We're talking about being recognized, right? Just as Jeff and I, which has been real cool and just something we've kind of gotten used to. It's crazy, but you know, it's kind of became commonplace. Whenever we're out doing that Brando today with my wife, as we were sitting there at the table, and I'm just not going to say the name, but it's a very, very mainstream brand. And we were sitting there, and the waitress who was taking care of us, and my wife shooting stuff and content and whatnot. She's like, "Oh my God, like I'm so glad I got to wait you because like I'm such a fan. Like blah blah blah. I did this. I went to I had someone that went to Union Pines. I know you guys went to Union Pines. Me and Jeff, that's where we went to high school. And you know, you guys are wrestlers. Said, and I love your content. I was watching one of your videos just 2 nights ago, and like, oh my God, I can't believe the Gothic baby's in the restaurant. You know, so that was real cool. And they knew all the boys' names, and that happens every so often. And that's one thing I think is super cool. Whenever I'm out with my family, like everybody gets recognized and they know who everybody is.
I love that. I love that. Remember when we were out last year in North Carolina, barbecue place, girls waiting on us, and she's like, "You're not who I think you are," and you're like, "Yeah, I guess not." And she walks away. And I was like, "Nah, that's who you think it is. You guys are forever." Especially in that neck of the woods. You're certainly
yeah.
So Hardy
I
Boyz.
mean, a lot of times when people say like, "Oh my God, you look just like Matt Hardy," this is my answer. I said, I hear that every day.
Yeah. I mean, you do.
And then if they move forward and like say, "Are you really him?" Then I'll say,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
But you know, sometimes they'll just like that'll be it. Oh my God, has anyone ever told you like Matt Hardy? I hear it every day. And
all right, see you later.
Yeah.
Well, see you later. The words have been spoken. We'll see you next time right here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy.
Delete.
My skin's dying because you're under it. I'm done lying to myself for this, for all the wonder and believing that it's making me weak. I'll fade away and classify myself as obsolete. My skin's dying. I'm done lying.
Hey everybody, so by now you've heard me bragging about saving people money at savewithconrad.com for years, but I thought, you know what, don't take my word for it. Let's ask someone who really did save with Conrad. Let's welcome in Tyrus. Tyrus, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, Conrad. How about yourself?
Man, I'm delighted to talk to you. I got to ask, what made you come to Save with Conrad originally?
Well, first, I'm a return shopper, if you will. I was listening to the podcast years ago now with you and Bruce, and I just figured we were in the mode for a refinance, and I heard you guys save money, so I called you guys, got hooked up with Jimmy way back then, and that's really how the ball started to roll.
So initially you were interested in lowering your monthly payments, or did you want to knock out some credit card debt, or what was your goal the first time you went to savewithconrad.com?
It was mostly just to get the lower rate, but there's a little bit of credit card debt in there too, so we rolled that all up.
And you got a cheaper monthly payment on the other side of that?
Yeah, yep. And with this time that I used, it saved me quite a bit a month. Yeah.
So let's talk about what brought you back to Save with Conrad. First of all, thank you for using us not once but twice. I appreciate that. But that was your needs back then. When was that? Was that 2020 that you did that before?
Yeah, it was around that, maybe 2019, somewhere around that.
Okay. So now a few years later, your needs have changed. What prompted you to go to savewithconrad.com this time?
Well, we were looking to refinance once again because we bought during the high rate time, and we had, a little bit of credit card debt, and we thought, why not hit that refinance button? And originally, we were thinking, why not just go through the national brand that was servicing our loan? I called one of them over there and he crunched the numbers and he said, no can do. Sorry. And then I thought, I'll just save with Conrad again. And I called and the delightful Frances answered, and you know her.
Oh, yeah.
And the first thing after I told her what the national brand said, she just said, are they stupid? We can save you money. And she got the ball rolling. I worked with the OG Larry and saving $425 a month.
All right. I love to hear that, man. $425 a month. I love that, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
If you had someone who was on the fence, because I know that there's a lot of people who just know me as the wrestling podcaster, but if you had someone who listens to my pods and they're on the fence about whether or not this is a real service and can he really do this? I mean, what would you say to that?
Absolutely do it. It worked for me multiple times, from Jimmy way back when to Francis and Larry. It just, the whole team, they just had nothing but great things to say. They're easy to work with. They worked well with the inspectors and everything like that. It's just a great experience, and I would recommend it to anybody.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to help save you some money, and I would be delighted if we could help save you and your family some money. Do what Tyrus did. Go right now to savewithconrad.com. You can talk to a live person, get a quick quote, or just drop us an email directly at conrad@savewithconrad.com. And of course, we can still do it the old school way. Give us a call toll free at 888-425-0105. Thanks for all the time today, Tyrus. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Conrad.
And lesson number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com.